Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to preview this Saturday's PBC on ESPN card. We got two fights going on. In the middleweight division, we got Daniel Jacobs facing Sergio Mora. And in the main event, we have Danny Garcia making his 147-pound debut against Malignaggi. We're going to start off with Jacobs and Mora. Rob, take it away.
All right, so as we know, Danny Jacobs has the, is it WBA?
I think it's WBO. One of the WBs.
Yeah, one of the, I want to say the WBO middleweight strap that he won from in a match with.
It was a vacant one.
It was vacant.
The name just escaped me. I'll put it right down at the bottom.
But he did win it, and Danny Jacobs ended the fights in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
All right. Danny Jacobs, big name in Brooklyn. He's from New York, and he is someone that I want to see take that step up. He's only suffered one loss in a knockout years ago, and he's been on a tear since. I think all of his last fights, maybe except for one, has ended in KO.
I think it was Jared Fletcher.
Was Fletcher. All of his fights have it. I believe he has a very high KO percentage.
Yeah, he does. He does a lot of good things. Jacobs. He's pretty consistent. Had a great amateur career. But since the parole fight and surviving cancer,
yeah,
his competition has not been of the high level yet. But I mean, this man survived cancer.
That is a victory in itself in life.
Right. Much bigger than anything he could do in boxing. So, you know, for him to have a little bit of a not top quality opponent can kind of be forgiven at that point.
But we do want to see him take a step up against that B+ A level competition. We're talking about the Peter Quillens, talking about maybe the Triple G's, talking about the Miguel Cottos.
Right.
That's what maybe Andy Lee.
Yeah, I think those fights are coming. He's got a good fighter in front of him in Sergio Mora. Sergio Mora is, well, the very first champion of the Contender. He was also the former 154-pound champion, beating Vernon Forrest for that strap. But he has turned in also some uninspiring performances where it seems like he's not really interested in the fight.
Yeah, well, one of them was what, Brian Vera?
Yeah, like I think he lost twice to Brian Vera, and he shouldn't, because Sergio Mora is a good fighter. He cuts spectacular angles. He's very awkward. He has fast hands. The only thing he lacks is punching power. And now, with that, he still is not getting run over by fighters. So I think he has some physical strength, even though he doesn't have that concussive knockout power. With Jacobs, he's going to have to use all of those tools, because Jacobs has been in with guys who can't hurt him, and he's pretty much walked through him with systematic breakdowns. Now, Sergio Mora isn't the type to be systematically broken down, but there's a first time for everything.
Yeah.
He's starting to get a little old, and he hasn't fought often.
I think this is his first fight in what, a year and a half, 2 years maybe?
Yeah, because the Jermaine Taylor fight fell apart. He was supposed to fight Kelly Pavlik, that fell apart. He's had some pretty big name fighters pull out on him, leaving him high and dry. And that may have led to some of those listless performances that he turned in. But now he's got another big shot, and he has to capitalize on it. And in order to do so, he has to keep Danny Jacobs turning all night, which he can do.
And Danny Jacobs is it's going to be the more aggressive of the two fighters.
Right. So that one, Jacobs will land the harder shots, of course, and the more judge-friendly shots. So I'm thinking that he can take advantage of that and win the fight, but it should be a pretty interesting one.
I'm seeing this going the distance. I could see it being an A4 fight for Jacobs, and those rounds might be a bit ugly, where Danny Jacobs is just getting the best of Mora. Because I like Danny Jacobs. He's a great technique, great he puts his punches together well.
He's very patient.
Yeah, but Mora is one of those guys who kind of, yeah, you do have to be patient with them, but you just can't take them lightly.
Yeah, he'll make you look bad very easily. Ask Shane Mosley. Let's move on to the main event where we have Danny Garcia, excuse me, fresh off his win against Lamont Peterson at 144, I believe. Going all the way up to the full welterweight division limit of 147 against two-time champ Paulie Malignaggi. Now, this is Malignaggi's first fight back since losing to Sean Porter by knockout. That was his first knockout loss. We have to remember, this is a tough guy. He fought 10 rounds with a broken face against Miguel Cotto in Miguel Cotto's prime. So being stopped is a very difficult thing. Stopping Paulie Malignaggi is very difficult. But he's also been in a lot of wars. His feet have slowed down quite a bit. And he is there to be hit. Now, with Garcia, this is his first fight at 147. So Malignaggi probably, well, it's not really certain who's going to be the bigger guy, because Danny Garcia has been struggling to make 140 with. He hasn't, I don't think he's fought at 140 since he beat Lucas Matisse.
Exactly.
And that was 2 years ago. So that's one of the things that will be a factor in this fight. Both guys have decent footwork. You probably won't see a lot of it because they are going to stand there and try to trade with each other. Malignaggi likes to try to make you miss in the pocket. The only thing I don't like is he kind of like does this shuffle thing to like telegraphs his punches. You know when he's about to punch. But the question is, can Garcia get out of the way in time? We've already seen Garcia get the benefit of 2 decisions where there's a guy outworking him but not really landing power shots. So I'm thinking we see the same thing as we saw in Herrera and Peterson, where Malignaggi's putting in good work. Danny Garcia lands some judge-friendly shots, gets a decision.
Yeah. Garcia should win, but I see it looking more so like the Herrera fight, where Paulie Malignaggi doesn't have a lot of power, but he does have a very high boxing IQ, and he has faster hands. So I think he'll study that fight where he'll be working his punches up the middle instead of throwing a bunch of hooks except to the body. I feel like if he can jab to the body and just keep coming forward with straight punches and not trying to throw those any kind of looping punches, because we know Danny Garcia does a great job of punching with his opponent and punching with power. And he's going to be trying to land that left hook.
Oh yeah.
So I want to say Malignaggi pushes the pace. I think he pushes the pace in this one. I think he's going to come forward, coming straight with those straight, just working the jab, bringing the right behind it. When he gets close, just trying to eat away at the body. They're not going to be hard punches, but there will be scoring punches. Danny Garcia, I think, is going to be sharper with his punches. I think he's going to be a lot fresher because he's younger. I think he has the athleticism advantage at this point. So when he lands, you will know it. When Malignaggi lands, it's like, okay, he landed, and then Garcia lands, and then you have to judge which one are you taking above the other.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, it's been Garcia's punches. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching this episode. Make sure you like us on Facebook, Capital Combat, Google Plus, same name. Make sure you like this video. If you have anything you want to add, comment below. You can follow us also on Google Plus and Instagram at Capital Combat. And make sure you check out our technical toolbox and all the other videos we got to offer. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.